Thank you for joining me for this practice. Let's get started abdomen down. We'll place the feet about hip distance apart with the tops of the feet resting on the mat. And then stack your hands and let your forehead rest on the back of your hands. We're going to begin this practice by bringing special awareness to our breath, particularly to the exhalation. So allow yourself to inhale deeply through the nose, filling the lungs. And as you exhale, sigh it out through the mouth. Twice more. Good. Return to your normal breathing pattern. And start to balance out the inhalations and exhalations so that they're the same duration of time. I recommend breathing through the nose if you are able to, but if you need to, you can also breathe through slightly parted lips, keeping your inhalations and exhalations the same duration of time. We'll take a few breaths here. With every exhalation, allow yourself to settle more and more onto the floor, softening the muscles of the neck and shoulders so that your upper body can relax, softening the hips and the lower belly so that the lower body can relax. One more full cycle of breath here. Good. Now we're going to take a breath sequence that extends the exhalation so that it lasts longer than the inhalation. I'll guide you to a count of 4 to inhale and a count of 6 to exhale. Exhale the existing air here and inhale for 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And repeat. Know that you can change the cadence of the breath in any way you choose. As long as the exhalation lasts a little bit longer than the inhalation, you're in the right place for your body. Practice a few rounds of breath here. Every slow exhalation cues our nervous system that it's okay to slow down, to relax, that we are safe and that we are able to manage, right? So we're using these slow exhalations as a tool. One more cycle of breath here. And use that next exhalation to transition into Sphinx pose. Stacking your shoulders over your elbows and bringing your forearms parallel to each other. We want to encourage the center of the chest forward and the shoulders backwards. And bring your chin parallel to the floor rather than looking down at the mat. Take a few breath cycles here, allowing the front of the chest to open. Creating a little space in the front of the belly. And you might choose to continue working here, or if you're looking for additional sensation, maybe you bend the knees and draw your heels in towards your body. Breathe deeply here, letting the exhalation linger. One more cycle. And use that next exhalation to release the feet down to the floor if you've lifted them. And start to make your way into a tabletop position. Stacking your shoulders over your wrists. And for this tabletop, we're going to take our knees a little bit wider than our hips and let the big toes touch behind us, almost like in child's pose. So you might sink back into a child's pose, bringing your seat towards your heels and sort of measuring out the appropriate distance for your hands and arms. And whenever an inhalation comes, shift forward, stacking shoulders over wrists, letting your hips drop, and then exhale to take it back. Inhale forward, hips drop, chin lifts. Exhale to child's pose. Good. 3 more times, just like that. You might keep the tops of the feet on the floor, or maybe as you send the heart and hips forward, you let the feet lift away from the floor, drawing them in towards your body. Whatever feels appropriate to you. We'll take one more pass here. And then settle into that child's pose. Maybe taking your knees a little bit wider, creating more space in the hips. Maybe your chest drops a little bit closer to the mat as you exhale. Nice, slow, long exhalations here. One more cycle of breath. And we'll use that next inhalation to come into a classic tabletop position. Shoulders over wrists, knees over hips. And we'll take our left foot forward to the outside of our left hand. Now you have some options here. If you're working with a block, it could feel really supportive to take the block under your hands so that they're in line with your shoulders. And it can be on any height that feels appropriate to you. We're all going to come in and out of a lizard pose. So you'll inhale to sink your hips forward and lift the chest. And then you'll exhale to shift the hips back and straighten your left leg. Inhale, hips shift forward, gaze lifts. Exhale, leg straightens as the hips go back. Good. Keep this flow going at your pace that matches with your breath. So it's completely okay if you're moving faster or slower than I am. And that left knee doesn't have to be completely straight, especially if you're using a block. You can have a nice micro bend in that knee or a deep bend if that helps you feel a bit better with the movement. This isn't so much about trying to be any type of perfect in your body. It's about moving the energy and allowing yourself to feel good, starting to bring some good chemicals into the body. Take this once more, ending in your lunge position with your left knee stacked over your left ankle. And you might experiment with taking a few breaths here. Those who are seeking more sensation might bend the right knee and draw the right heel in towards the body. Deep breaths, longer exhalation than inhalation. Good. One more cycle. And if you've raised the back foot, lower it to the ground. And take both of your hands on top of your left knee or left thigh. Allow yourself to reposition in a way that helps you to feel stable. And then start to sink your hips down and forward towards your left heel. You might then experiment with taking one hand, maybe both hands, to the back of the head. Squeeze the shoulder blades together to help open the chest. And then allow the center of your chest to shine up towards the ceiling. Take a few breaths here. Asana with a little extra back bend to help open up the chest, facilitate easier breathing. Good. Maybe you lift the center of the chest a little higher as you take your gaze to the ceiling. And then exhale to release your hands down to the floor or the block, and take that left leg back to meet its neighbor. We'll do those same movements on the other side. So now your right foot comes forward. Maybe you're using a block under the hands. You're going to inhale to shift the hips forward. Exhale to press the hips back. Take your time with those exhalations. It's where we get to release a lot of the physical tension in the body. Good. Aim for about 7 more at your own pace. Noticing just how this side of the body feels. Any sensations that are maybe new or different. Started to feel so good to me that I nearly lost count. Go for 3 more. And the next time that you find yourself coming into that lunge, stack your right knee over your right ankle. Take a few breath cycles here, or possibly bend into your left knee and draw your left heel in towards your body. Slow exhalations that last a little bit longer than the inhalation. That's going to be the theme throughout today. Good. One more breath here. And we'll use that next exhalation to release the left foot to the floor. Take both of your hands to the top of your right knee or right thigh. Get stable. And then let the hips sink down and forward towards your right heel. Pull your lower belly in and up. If you're familiar with Kegels, you might lift your pelvic floor, that action as well. And then take the hands together behind the head. Now interlace your fingers the awkward way, the way that seems less intuitive. We're going to inhale to lift the center of the chest and exhale to relax into the lunge. Nice and slow. A few breaths here. Maybe you lift the center of the chest a little higher for the final cycle of breath here. And we'll all use the exhalation to take both hands down to the floor. Take your right knee back to meet its neighbor. And then come into a seated position with your shins or your ankles crossed. If you would like the support of sitting on a folded blanket, pillow, block, you're welcome to do that. It might help you feel like you're not going to roll back or roll away so easily. All right, so let's take the hands together behind the back, interlacing your fingers to touch. You might now take your left ear towards your left shoulder, and then tuck in the chin slightly. If this is enough for you, you'll stay here, squeezing your shoulders and elbows towards the midline. If you want a little more sensation, you might guide both of your hands towards your left hip and then draw your left elbow back. This just helps to anchor your right shoulder in place and accentuate the stretch on the right side of your neck. Breathe here. One more cycle of breath, really letting your head feel heavy and relaxed. And then we'll inhale to bring the head and arms to center. Exhale to the other side. Now, if you took that bind, you might bring both of your hands now over towards your left side, right side, and let the head feel heavy. Just very, very relaxed. Breathe here. It's very tempting to lean in the direction that your head is going. Resist that urge by pressing your left sit bone and your left shoulder down towards the mat. Good. Let's inhale it up and exhale to release. Roll out the shoulders. We're now going to bring the soles of the feet together in front of us in Baddha Konasana, cobbler's pose. So take the soles of the feet, bring them together. And if this is enough, you might work here. You might also consider peeling the arches away from one another as if you were opening up the covers of a book. Inhale to lengthen your spine up towards the ceiling, and then exhale to hinge forward. Think about taking your chin beyond your toes. So you're extending the full length of your spine. Get as much length as you can before allowing yourself to completely fold forward. If your elbows touch the inner thighs or calves, you might use your elbows to encourage a bit more opening in the hips, pressing the legs down towards the mat. That's only if it feels like something you want to do. Take a few breath cycles here. Good. One more breath cycle in our forward fold. And we're going to inhale to lift the torso upright. Good. Let's make our way down onto the back now. And as you come onto your back, you can leave your knees bent and place both feet onto the floor. Now we have several options here. Option one is to cross your right ankle over your left knee or thigh, and then use your right hand to press the right thigh away. You can use any part of the leg except ideally your knee. You'll leave the knee joint out of it and just press the thigh or the shin away from you. This is option one. Option two would be to reach into the space between the legs, hold on to your left hamstring or left shin, and start to draw the leg unit towards the body, maybe bringing your right shin a little bit closer to your chest. Take a few breath cycles here with your nice slow exhalations. Final cycle of breath here. And if you have lifted the left foot away from the floor, place the left foot back onto the floor, and then take your arms into cactus position. Elbows in line with shoulders, palms facing up. If this is really uncomfortable for you, you can bring your arms into the shape of a T. We're going to scoot the hips about 1 inch towards the right, and then let this entire leg unit fall towards your left. So now the sole of your right foot is rooted into the floor, and the outer edge of your left leg is also on the floor. You might work here, or you might take a cervical spine twist, directing your chin and your gaze over the right shoulder. We'll take a few breath cycles here. One full cycle of breath. And use that next exhalation to bring the head and the torso back towards center. And we'll change sides. So now the right foot is on the floor. The left ankle crosses on top of the right thigh. And you might press the left thigh away from your body with your left hand, or reach between the legs, take hold of your right shin or right hamstring, and draw the leg unit towards the body. A few deep breaths here. One more round of breath before we use an exhalation to place the right foot back onto the floor. Arms come into our cactus or T shape, and we let the leg unit fall towards the right this time, after scooting your hips over just about an inch to the left. Good. You might keep your gaze and your chin directly up towards the ceiling, or take them both towards the left. Final exhalation on this side. And use that next breath to bring your legs and gaze towards center if you shifted them. Release both legs long onto the floor so that your heels are about hip distance apart. And then take your hands to your abdomen. Ideally the upper abdomen just at the base of your rib cage. Allow your eyes to close or soften your gaze at the space above you. Take a moment to check in and just notice how you feel. How does your physical body feel? How do you, as a human being, how do you feel? Your energy, your mood? And once that check-in feels complete, allow your awareness to drift back to your breathing, noticing the gentle rise and fall of your chest and the gentle rise and fall of your hands. Prolong the exhalation, taking at least 3 full breath cycles here. Final cycle. And use that next exhalation to roll towards one side and begin to press yourself into an upright and seated position. Maybe with your ankles or shins crossed. And maybe your eyes close or remain closed, or the gaze softens. Whatever helps you to turn your awareness inward for this final moment, where you can thank yourself for being here, thank yourself for taking the time to do this practice, and thank yourself for continually investing in yourself and your well-being, never giving up on yourself. The light in me bows humbly to that light in you. Thank you so much. Take care. And I just realized that the sun came out, so there's this weird shadow pattern on the wall, but it is what it is. You all take care of yourselves. Bye.